Jules here for Talk to Me Tuesday on Thursday, December 1st. I'm a little late this week, but I actually have been doing stuff, which is amazing, and it makes me feel so good. So I'm not done organizing and stuff here in the project room, but I have gotten a lot done. I got legs on the white cabinet that I got from Habitat Restore. I originally went with casters, and I was using ones I had on hand, and they made it too tall. I wanted it, the table that I've been using as my sewing table, which is a Seville, I think is the brand, Ultra HD workbench. I've been using that as my sewing table, and I have it raised, and I was sewing standing up. I've decided I don't want to do that anymore. And I really wanted to use it as my cutting table because it is fantastic for that. It's 24 by 48. I have placed a special order at Hip Stitch where I work for a new cutting mat, which should fit perfectly without overhanging the edge of my cutting table. And underneath is just open space. And that was one of the things I didn't like using it as my sewing table because I had no drawers or anything like that. So now I have the cabinet placed under there. It has feet on it, and it is full of all of my Accuquilt dies. I have all the dies in there. I have all the mats in there. I have my Accuquilt 8-inch cube, which came with the cutter when I got it. The only thing that doesn't fit in there is the cutter itself, but it also fits right next to the cabinet under the table. So basically everything is right there under the table, easy to grab, and it's so easy. I was able to use it yesterday, in and out. It was fantastic to know where everything was and be able to grab it, use it, and put it away, and have it not be in my way, which is really great. So I will insert some pictures at the end of that cabinet. It is not completely done because the shelf that currently has the smaller dies on it, which is using a rack that actually our own Jennifer O sent to me. The shelf it's sitting on is actually not affixed to anything. It's just literally sitting on top of the end of another like storage box. So I do want to make that a little bit more stable and permanent, but it's working fine. And the cabinet doesn't wobble at all or anything like that. And yeah, it's working really good. So that's what's under the cutting table. And my old cutting mat from years ago is on top, but it is one that I actually cut down and was just having it sit under my sewing machine. So in addition to getting that done, I have also been quilting. I loaded a quilt on the frame, or quilt back. The quilt actually came from Sarah in Houston. She sent a bunch to Jennifer, and Jennifer sent some to me. It just happened to be the perfect size for one of the dimensions they need for the hospital in Santa Teresa, Children's Hospital. And Hip Stitch is collecting blankets for that, and one of my co-workers, Rayut, is going to be delivering them in person in mid-December. So I wanted to get at least one done for that, and Jennifer sent me one that was almost a perfect size, so I don't have to modify it at all. So I'm going to grab that right now. Sarah, if you see this, you may remember this. It's pretty big. It's like 57 by 78, something, or 79, something like that. It's beautiful. I did have tension issues on the very first row, so I need to fix those before I can get it bound. So I'll work on that probably not till Sunday or Monday. But I had this fabric. I had 4 yards of this yellow fabric that I bought when my friend from high school was destashing in the spring of 2020, pretty early in the pandemic. She, due to health reasons, doesn't quilt anymore, and she was getting rid of a lot of her fabric. And so I bought this 4-yard cut of this Moda fabric with multicolored music symbols all over it. It's got eighth notes, quarter notes, etc. And it's time to use up some fabric, y'all. What was left over after I took it off the frame has already been cut into binding, and I have more than enough to bind it. So there's also a lot of organizing and cleaning and stuff that's been going on at the shop where I work. And what's hanging behind me was a sample that came from one of the manufacturers, QT Fabrics. They send them out to the quilt stores for you to order fabric from. And in this case, they actually printed it right on fabric, which is pretty cool. And they were getting rid of them, and I asked if I could have them, and they were given to me. So I'm actually, the first thing I thought when I saw them is those would make fantastic curtains for the project room. So that's what I'm going to do with those. So I have this one here, and I have this one here. This one I'm holding is actually shorter. It's only a yard, and this one is pretty much square. So I'm going to need to add fabric to this, but there's already cutting lines on there, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to need to add fabric to this to get them to the same size, so I'll probably cut them up a bit so that they look a little more similar to each other, and then I will make the curtains from that. I mean, it's either going to be curtains or sewing machine covers, things like that. I'm going to be using them for projects right here in the project room. I think that's enough to talk about for today. So I have enjoyed watching your videos. I did get caught up this morning, and I look forward to seeing what you share over the next few weeks. Jeannie, I love the tree you shared, and I think I'm gonna have to make one of those too. Thanks for sharing the link with me on where you got the idea for that. And wow, I guess that's it for me, y'all. I'll see you next week. Bye.